Well, if you are feeling exhausted these days, you're certainly not alone. When stressful situations outpace our chances to recover, it can lead to burnout. You know, our brains, they like clarity, certainty, and organization. And during a pandemic, that's kind of thrown out the window. But Jamie Martin, who is the editor-in-chief of Experience Life magazine, which is published by Lifetime, is joining us today to talk about ways to recover your energy and even some small changes that will really make a big impact. Jamie, how are you?
I'm doing great, Rachel. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and you know, everyone's in the recovery mode. We've been through this now for a while. Things are starting to, life is starting to slowly, hopefully get back to normal, but our brains take a little while to catch up, don't they?
They absolutely do. And you know, burnout is a little bit different than fatigue in that it's kind of fatigue plus some, right? So there's some characteristics of burnout that I think we should cover off on so people might recognize that. So it starts with kind of exhaustion, both mental and physical, from all the things that are happening around us all the time. And then there's things like the physical symptoms that can start to manifest in our bodies, from rashes to pain to backaches and all these things that are kind of signs that our nervous system is not coping very well with our current circumstances. Then there's things like cynicism and depersonalization, when we start feeling disconnected from what's happening, and then like lack of motivation. We just aren't kind of feeling like motivated to do the things that we normally want to do.
And I think it's really important. You talk about how self-care and mindfulness is so important, because I think there's a lot of people, even myself included, who feel guilty that I didn't learn another language or organize my garage during the time. I just, survived and did the best I could.
Right. It's all about being a little compassionate with ourselves, right? Like give ourselves some grace, because there's a lot of things. None of us have been through a pandemic like this before. How do we know how we're going to cope? We didn't know how. So kind of checking in with ourselves, knowing, what's triggering us, and then giving ourselves permission to take little breaks throughout the day, to be a little bit more forgiving of ourselves when we're not perfect or doing things just right as we might have before.
And yeah, probably not comparing yourself to others on social media who look like they're like living their best life in quarantine, and you're like, I just barely could work out. But like you said, we're all doing our best and managing in different ways, right?
Absolutely. And you mentioned working out. Movement is a really important thing to help us de-stress and to kind of come back to build energy. So, and I know a lot of us were kind of hunkered down at home still, some of us, not all of us, but like making time for movement, giving ourselves time to pause and take breaks throughout the day to rest and recover, because there's a lot coming at us all the time. Let's give ourselves permission to slow down a little bit, even though we're kind of slowed down already.
Right? I know, and I love, Lifetime has done a really good job of this online classes. I mean, whether it is taking Zumba classes or even like yoga or meditation, Lifetime's really done a good job online, still letting people find ways to have outlets that are healthy.
Absolutely. And so, you mentioned the online classes, there's a virtual training app, there's resources and content of all sorts, including stuff from Experience Life that is out there to help people get through this really challenging time and to cope a little bit better.
I know I've been doing the Zumba and dance classes with Tandy, and it helps to have also that, even though you're not physically with people, but seeing them and doing it together, it gives you that accountability, because there's a time to do the class, and really we appreciate what you guys have done online.
Yes, I mean, there's that thing about that's how we're connecting right now, right? And there's that sense of community that can't be replaced, but you can find it in little ways. And those connections are so important for helping us get through tough times.
Absolutely. Jamie, thank you so much for your time today. We really, really appreciate it. And you can go to experiencelife.com or the Lifetime apps for more information.